In the silence of history, some wars echo louder than the ones that were fought. Some battles never happened, yet their shadows stretch across centuries. Alexander the Great, the undefeated conqueror of the ancient world, standing face to face with Rome, the empire that would one day rule the earth. Two civilizations, two military machines. But they never met, and yet history still whispers their names together. This is the story of the greatest war that never happened. By the age of 30, Alexander had crushed Persia, shattered empires, and marched farther than any army in recorded history. From Greece to Egypt, from Babylon to the edge of India, his soldiers believed he was more than a king. They believed he was destiny itself. Cities fell without resistance. Kings bowed without battles. Empires collapsed at the sound of his name. Alexander did not conquer lands. He conquered fear. But while the world watched Alexander in the east, another power was rising quietly in the west. A republic of iron discipline, unbreakable formations, relentless ambition. Rome. Rome at this time was not yet an empire, but it was becoming something far more dangerous. Its soldiers were not kings or nobles. They were farmers, blacksmiths, sons of the soil, men who fought not for glory, but for survival, land, and loyalty. The Roman legion was a machine, shields locked, swords precise, discipline absolute. Where Alexander ruled through brilliance, Rome ruled through structure. Where Alexander inspired loyalty, Rome enforced unity. Two different philosophies, two different visions of power, both unstoppable. If Alexander had turned west after Babylon, if death had not claimed him at 32, if history had shifted just slightly, the ancient world would have witnessed something unimaginable. The Macedonian phalanx, long spears, locked shields, unstoppable forward momentum against the Roman legion, flexible formations, tactical discipline, battlefield adaptation. Alexander's lightning-fast cavalry charges against Rome's iron defensive lines, speed versus structure, genius versus system, vision versus system, vision versus organization. This would not be a battle. This would be a war for the world. Here's the truth history teaches us. Power alone doesn't build empires. Speed alone doesn't sustain them. Genius alone doesn't preserve them. Alexander conquered the world faster than any man in history, but Rome ruled it longer than the empire ever did. Because true dominance isn't about how fast you rise, it's about how long you last. Alexander was a flame, Rome was a furnace. One burns bright, the other burns forever. Picture the battlefield, dust rising like fog, war horns echoing through the valleys, thousands of shields flashing under the sun. Alexander rides at the front, golden armor, eyes locked forward, fearless. His generals behind him, Ptolemy, Seleucus, Hephaestion, legends in human form. Across the field stand the Roman legions, silent, still, unmoving. No chaos, only discipline. When the first charge begins, the earth itself trembles. Cavalry crashes into shields. Spears meet steel. The sky fills with dust, blood, and screams. This would not be chaos. This would be controlled destruction. History gives no answer, but logic gives us truth. Alexander would win battles. Rome would win wars. Alexander's genius would dominate early campaigns. Rome's system would dominate long-term survival. Because Rome didn't depend on one man, Rome depended on a machine. When Alexander fell, his empire fractured. When Roman leaders died, Rome endured. That is the difference between conquest and civilization. So who truly wins this war that never happened? Never happened. Not around history. Because the greatest battles are not always fought with swords. They're fought with ideas, systems, and legacy. Alexander taught the world how fast greatness could rise. Rome taught the world how long greatness could last. One shaped history through conquest, the other shaped it through continuity. Maybe this war never happened for a reason, because the world didn't need a winner. It needed both, the dreamer who conquered the horizon and the builders who turned land into law. The fire and the foundation. Alexander and Rome were never meant to fight. They were meant to define two paths to power. History is full of battles that were fought, but the most powerful ones are the battles that never happened. If you felt this story, if you love epic history, legendary empires, and cinematic storytelling, Backhand Index Pointing Right, subscribe to the channel Backhand Index Pointing Right. Like this video to support more powerful stories. Backhand Index Pointing Right, comment below. Who do you think would win, Alexander or Rome? Because history lives, and not in